Okay, today we will be learning about percent increase or decrease, which is the same thing as percent change. Now, what this tells us is how much an amount changed, whether, for example, a price went up or how much a price went down, but it's going to tell us in a percentage representation. So we have 3 steps that we have to follow, and this is your basic formula. Now, this formula is not on your star chart, so this is something that you're going to have to memorize. So whenever they ask you for percent change, change means to subtract. It's like saying how different something is. Remember, different, difference, that is subtraction. So change means to subtract. That is your first step that you're going to do. Afterwards, you're going to divide. Remember that fraction bar equals division, right? So that's our next step. We divide by the original amount. The original amount is usually the number that has the word from next to it. And then since I'm looking for a percent, when we do this division, we will get a decimal. So since we're looking for a percent, that's why we multiply by 100. So this is going to make a little bit more sense once we start doing it. So just remember that you have 3 steps. You first subtract, then divide, then multiply. So you subtract, divide from original amount, and then multiply. Okay, after you get your number, you can tell me whether it was an increase or a decrease. Remember that an increase means that a number goes up, and decrease means that a number goes down. It got smaller. So let's go ahead and look at the first example. We're just going to set up our equation, and then we're going to do our steps down here at the bottom. So what is the percent change from $80 to 64? So change, remember it means subtraction. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract these 2 amounts. Just going to set it up. Then our next step is to divide. We're going to go ahead and divide by our original amount. That's your from. So that would be the 80. And then your last step is to multiply. And we're going to get our answer. Okay, so let's just roll through all the steps here. First, we subtract. 80 minus 64 will be 16. That's my first step. Subtract. My next step is to divide. We divide it by the 80. And we get 0.2. And then my last step is to multiply. So we are going to get 20%. So remember 3 steps. Subtract the 2 amounts, divide by original, multiply by 100. And that's my percent. This amount changed 20%. Now let's figure out if it's an increase or a decrease. The amount went down to 64. So when you go down, that is decrease. Okay. Let's go ahead and do our second example. What is the percent change from 86 books to 150? So again, when you hear change, that's something that's different now, so you subtract. We're subtracting these 2, so let's just set it up. 150 minus 86. Please put the biggest number first so that you don't have to deal with the negatives. We then divide by the original amount. The original amount is usually next to the word from. So that's the 86. And then we multiply by 100. So let's just lay it out here. 150 minus 86. So again, subtract is my first step. And we will get 64. My next step is to divide by the original amount. The original was 86. You already set it up there. So we're just going through the motions of doing the steps. And you will get 0.74. And then my last step is to multiply by 100. And we get 74%. So again, 3 steps. Subtract the two amounts, divide by original, multiply by 100. And we get our percent change. So this number changed 74%. Now let's figure out if it's an increase or a decrease. I went from 86 to 150, so my number went up. It got bigger. That means it's an increase. It went up. So 74% increase. Okay, so things to remember. When you see the words percent change, that should cue you to subtract. So we know that we need to subtract, then divide by the original amount, and then multiply by 100 to get our percent. Thank you.